Minnesota?
I do not know.
All right, so this was in the news like a week ago. There were reports of birds in northern Minnesota that were acting really erratically, like flying around in the streets and like crashing into cars.
Okay.
And people were, calling the cops to report it, and they did the research and they realized that because the cold had come to northern Minnesota so early.
Okay.
And the frost cycle started early. There were these berries that were freezing.
Okay.
And then they were thawing.
Fermenting.
They were thawing so quickly in the morning that they were fermenting. And so a bunch of these birds were eating fermented berries, and they were getting intoxicated.
Fair enough.
And this made like national headlines. This was in like Seth Meyers' monologue.
Okay.
And I was like, this is just hilarious. But I then saw a headline online and read further, and that was in Gilbert, Minnesota, which is like 5 minutes from where I grew up.
Fair enough.
And so it was just really cool to see like the sheriff of Gilbert, Minnesota was like quoted about these drunk birds, and he had put out this ridiculous tweet about like, we know about the drunk birds. Please stop calling and messaging us about the drunk birds.
Okay.
He was like, however, if you see like a man in a big bird suit causing trouble, or like he was doing all these like bird references.
Okay,
so he did like
enough.
a big bird reference and an Angry Birds reference, and he was like, anyway, that like went sort of viral, and so I thought it was pretty hilarious that like small town northern Minnesota sheriff was like getting all this attention because of the drunk birds.
For sure. Sounds like an Andy Griffith episode.
It does kind of sound like an Andy Griffith episode. That's a good pull. My dad is a big Andy Griffith fan these days.
Yeah.
He's just started watching. But the only thing I know about that show is like the whistling theme song. That's the one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Andy Griffith show is actually legitimately really good. Like for its day, it stands the test of time.
Yeah, because he was a small town sheriff, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, hey everybody. My name's Adam. This is Press Skol, episode 6. I am here with my buddy Jim.
Hey, what's up, guys?
First time guest. Jim is from Fargo, Minnesota. He is in Minneapolis with me this weekend. We are just under 24 hours away from tomorrow's Viking-Cardinals game, and we are here to preview it. I'm hoping that the Cardinals will play as erratically as some drunk birds in Gilbert.
Fair enough.
But we're gonna, for those of you who have been following along, we are Vikings here in Madden 2019's franchise mode are 1-4. I would call this a must-win game for us. The Cardinals in this franchise are oddly 4-1, and as a result, Sam Bradford has not been benched. And so you viewers don't get to see rookie quarterback Josh Rosen, you get to see former Viking Sam Bradford. So that'll be an interesting challenge, just another one of these alternate universe things. We have Everson Griffin on the field, they've got Sam Bradford on the field, but here we are, and regardless of the wrinkles, we'll see how we do.
Off to a good start.
Yeah. We start with the defense on the field. As we settle in, Jim, I want to talk about your thoughts on last week's Viking game. Vikings get a big win against the Eagles.
It was.
What jumped out at you?
Well, I think that they look not elite, and they look good enough where they could maybe peak out at that elite level. Like they're not Super Bowl caliber as of the way they've been playing, and that doesn't mean that they can't get there by the end of the season, and that doesn't mean that they couldn't take it and miss the playoffs. So it's kind of like they're kind of in this like in-between place in my mind for the rest of the season. That was my takeaway.
Yeah, it sounds to me like a lot of Viking teams in our lifetime. It's like, well, they've got this great potential. They could really maximize it and peak out at a good place, or they could totally and realistically underachieve. We got a 3rd and 8 here. I just am relying on the normal pass rush, but we just gave him too much time. Maybe should have put some pressure on him there, but we'll get after Sam Bradford by the time this game is done. Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't get to watch the game last week. I was out of town for a wedding, but I watched the highlights, and I think the things that struck me is that Kirk Cousins looked really good again. Even though he was running for his life most of the time, I thought he was, there were a lot of times he was falling backward or stepping back and still just delivering some great on-target throws.
Yeah, fair enough.
He, I think, is second in the league in passing yards right now, so he's rolling. Like, even though he's the most pressured quarterback in the NFL, I feel like he's been rolling pretty well. Thielen and Diggs have continued to be really solid, so Thielen is leading the league in reception yards, which to me is quite a pretty cool to have him at the top of the charts there.
You know, I was thinking about this. Thielen might be their third best wide receiver in my lifetime, after Chris Carter and Randy Moss.
That's a strong claim.
I mean, because otherwise it's like you'd say like maybe Percy Harvin, but I don't know. Stephon Diggs, but I don't think he's there. Sidney Rice had a good season, but he had Brett Favre, too. So.
Yeah, and his like. It was
I'm just
momentary,
saying for that one season.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Season.
He was amazing that year, but it was a momentary thing for him. He fell off pretty quickly, but yeah, I mean it's an interesting statement in the sense that I think a lot of people would think of Diggs as our number one receiver, and Diggs is incredibly talented, but Thielen is just consistent. He is just a consistent presence. And I think if he does maintain his output, if he maintains what we're seeing this year across a couple more years, I think there's a lot to what you say in terms of him being one of the top 3 or 4 receivers that we've ever had and certainly in our lifetime as Viking fans.
Yeah.
All right, so Bradford is rolling right now. I think he's 3 for 3 or 4 for 4. We're gonna try to bend and not break here. We gotta. Oh God, we had him behind the line and he manages to squeeze away. Puts us in a 3rd and 7 though. This is a big down. They've got 4 receivers on the field, and so I'm reticent to get too aggressive. But I'm gonna pull out. I'm gonna put a lot of defensive backs on the field. And I'm going to bring a zone blitz, and we'll see if we can't get after him. Obviously, the big highlight from last week was the Linval Joseph top defensive touchdown. There's just nobody underneath to get to him. I think Linval ran 65 yards on that play?
It was enough where he needed an extended oxygen break.
So I don't know if you heard this story, but Madden, they update the rosters most weeks, and in response to that play, they upgraded Linval Joseph's speed to 80 speed.
That's pretty fast for a
I think they said it makes him the 2nd or 3rd fastest defensive tackle in the game.
Okay.
And he, when I saw the ESPN update on my phone, I was like, Linval Joseph 64-yard touchdown. I was like, how in the heck did Linval Joseph go 64 yards without getting caught up to? But yeah, he apparently was a sprinter. As a young man, apparently he would occasionally sprint. So, appearances can be deceiving.
Sure.
2nd and 11 here in the red zone. They've got 3 receivers on the field, and they're recommending some man blitzes. I'm not sure how I feel about it, so I just let the game take over and call the play. The other thing, I just thought by and large last week the pass rush, I mean, again, this was just based off of looking at highlights, but I thought the pass rush looked a lot better than it had looked.
Yeah, Daniil Hunter's looking good.
Yeah, and Stephen Weatherly looked good as well. I think on Linval's touchdown it was Stephen Weatherly who really got after Wentz on the play.
Yeah.
So he's out of bounds. Looks like he's celebrating.
Hey, that was the part of the end zone with the famous the push off knocked the Vikings out of the playoffs.
Yeah, the Nate Poole.
Yeah, the Nate Poole
play. Yeah, we'll come back to that one, but let's talk a little bit more about tomorrow's game. So
Yeah.
the Vikings are again heavily favored. The betting line has the Vikings favored by 10. Not quite as generous as the 17 points that they were favored by against the Bills.
I almost bet on the Bills in that game.
Would have been pretty savvy.
Yeah, I never bet, and I was like, dude, you cannot give a team 17 points. Like, I'm always going to take plus 17 in the NFL.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So the Vikings are one of the most heavily favored teams again tomorrow. They've got 10-point favorites. The Cardinals are 1-4. They got their first win last week against the 49ers team that doesn't have Jimmy Garoppolo. And so they've been struggling. Former Viking Sam Bradford has been benched. They've got rookie Josh Rosen in the game. I think this will be his third NFL start. And so that's what we're dealing with. I do think there are some shades of the Bills game here. Going to the game tomorrow, I definitely will be a little nervous that we're potentially going to find ourselves in a similar situation. Rookie quarterback, weak team, Vikings heavily favored on the betting line. And so I'm just really hoping that history doesn't repeat on that front. Who do you got tomorrow? What's your prediction?
Vikings by 7 would be my betting line. So I think the Vikings will win, but I'm gonna take the points in double digits almost every time. So
face mask. Defense.
Yeah, I think my prediction was similar. I did Vikings by 11. So I'm going to say Vikings 24, Cardinals 13.
okay.
So in that case, the Vikings would cover the spread. The Cardinals' offense has been really weak. They've been averaging 13 points a game, which makes them 31st in the league.
Sure.
Nothing doing there on the run. I think he's still live. I don't know what's happening right now. Like, that is some of the weirdest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's a glitch. For
apologies
sure.
for the profanity, but that was just bizarre. He just lays on the ground and nobody's doing anything.
He did the somersault.
So on this show every week we set some goals. You just saw Kirk's stat line for our franchise. It's really bad. He has 2 touchdowns and 16 interceptions. And so my goal here is to get Kirk at least 1 passing touchdown, ideally 2. No turnovers is also the goal here, and then win the game because, as noted, this is a must-win game for us. I just had the ball too long. You and I talked about this before the game. I think one of our biggest problems has, this is your first time playing on the show, but our problem has been we get ourselves in long down and distance, and it's just too hard to come back from that.
Circle.
Oh man, Morgan had hands on it, but he didn't hold on. So we'll have to punt it to him here. I think that's where I always get into trouble in terms of throwing interceptions, is when I get in those long situations and I want to go for a first down.
For sure. Got him.
Oh, that was a move. That was a heck of a move. Historically, the Vikings lead the Lifetime Series against the Cardinals 16-11. We beat them in 2016. That was the last time we played them. The Cardinals had some down years offensively. They've had a little bit of a quarterback carousel outside of Carson Palmer being a consistent presence for them. There's Derek Anderson, John Skelton. They've had a lot of kind of a journeyman quarterback. They're one of the weaker rated Madden teams. I believe their updated rating is they're 74, which makes them one of the worst. The Vikings are hanging tight around, I think, an 80. Somewhere around 80 overall, which makes them, slightly above average. Defensively, we're going to bring more pressure this drive. It's recommending some man blitzes, and so we're going to stick with that and see if we can't get Bradford a little bit shook here. We got a little pressure in his face, but the receiver holds on to the ball there. We got 3rd and 1. I think pressure is the answer again here. I don't want to...
Don't bring the safeties.
No, I'm going to do under smoke here, and we're just going to try to get to him immediately. It was a good call, I think. We just over-pursued slightly.
Yeah, fair enough.
The thing is, I almost wish we were playing against Josh Rosen in terms of the Madden dynamics, because
I agree with you.
he's going to be he's going to have a lower overall rating,
Yeah.
and those ratings are going to matter, particularly like an awareness rating, which is going to impact his ability to lead a defense. And basically, I tend to think that the strength of the quarterback AI is correlated with their awareness rating.
Sure.
And usually young rookie quarterbacks aren't going to have high ratings on that front.
Sure.
And so I'd much rather be facing Josh Rosen right now, but because of this alternate universe with this franchise, we've got Sam Bradford now. Sam Bradford was pretty bad in reality. The Cardinals opening the season 0-4. Oh, that was a pick opportunity right there. Whoops. We nearly had one there. I think we might be. We accidentally got a little hectic there and hit the PlayStation button. I think we're still alive. 3rd and 3 here, big down. I ran out of time. They called it. I'm hoping they bring some pressure. It's looking like they're not going to, but the onus is on us here to get some rush with our linemen. Oh, off the offensive lineman. So we managed to get the stop there.
All right, let's start some high fives, bro.
Yeah, let's get into a better spirit here.
Yeah.
Better vibe.
I noticed I played tennis in high school, and all the good tennis teams high-fived constantly.
Okay.
Whether they did good or bad, just kind of kept them connected.
Oh, it's a
shit!
fake!
Oh!
We stopped them, though. Barely. How about that, huh? That is the position of the field where that's not a bad call.
Uh-huh.
All right, I'm going to try to get a little bit of the run game going. That is actually one of the matchups. So one of the key matchups I called out for tomorrow is, Dalvin Cook heads up against David Johnson. Which team's running attack is really going to step up? And I think what I read this week is that this was Dalvin's first full week of practice in a while. I think he's overdue for a big game. And so, and I think the Cardinals... they've got Chandler Jones, who's a good pass rusher, but I think if you look at the rest of their defensive line and you look at their linebacking core, I think there's a good opportunity for us. I wait too long on that one. I think there's a good opportunity here for us to really get the run game going, and particularly at home. All right, 3rd and 4. You're seeing that defensive line here. So Chandler Jones, good pass rusher. Young linebackers. The Madden ratings there are lower. They do have a pretty good secondary. Patrick Peterson's an elite cornerback. They've got Antoine Bethea at safety. I'm going to call this verticals cross on 3rd and short here, and I'm going to be looking at Conklin and Morgan, and I'm going to try to find one of them coming across the middle. Oh, you're freestyling on me, man.
I thought it was someone else. But
it works out.
It did work out, actually.
As a reminder, Kyle Rudolph is hurt in our franchise, and so we're rolling with Conklin and David Morgan.
That's a bummer, man.
It is a bummer.
That's a bummer.
It's a good opportunity for Conklin to get some burn as a young guy. So you're Cook right now, and I'm running this ball.
All right.
So you switched off.
Yeah, I'm switching off.
We're averaging 4 yards per carry, which is like pretty significant for me. On 2nd and short here, I'm going to run a slip screen. So for you, Jim, the recommendation here is on a screen, never play as the running back. It's way too hard to execute a screen with a human wide receiver. And so I'm going to get this to cook. One guy, 3 blockers and 1 guy, and he manages to get behind us. That's a real kick in the pants right there. Puts us in a 3rd and 7 situation. I'm going to mentally remind myself here not to force anything because we can get a field goal here. My first option here is going to be Diggs. If Morgan's open across the middle, I'll take that as well. Coming to you. That'll be a nice first down.
There we go.
Good execution. High five.
Yeah, high five. There we go. There we go. First down. Skol! Vikings, let's win again.
So that's where the other key matchup I picked up was the Vikings passing attack versus that Cardinals secondary. So particularly, it'll be fun to watch Diggs and Thielen matched up against Patrick Peterson. Our receivers have been playing some good secondaries this year, but they have been rolling. I mean, our Diggs and Thielen have really been,
Diggs and Thielen have been good, yeah.
Regardless of who they're matched up against.
And Rudolph's looked good, too.
Yep, and so I think that'll be a fun. I think our receivers will continue to shine, even though they're up against good competition.
Yeah, some of our other receivers haven't been treading very well, though.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
The final matchup that I picked out was just the Vikings defense against the Cardinals offense. As noted, their offense has been pretty dysfunctional, and so I think tomorrow will be a really good opportunity for our defense to get their head right and to feel more like that prime Mike Zimmer defense that we expect.
Are you running?
Yep, we're running off the right guard here. I think we got 1 or 2 there. That's not terrible in this Madden universe. You and I will be at the game tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yep.
Like I said, I don't want any repeats of that Bills game, because the last time I was at the stadium was the Bills game, and oh my God, what a miserable experience that was. We're running quick slants here. I'm looking for Thielen above all, but
Oh, never mind. Whatever I am, I'm open.
Oh, I got it.
There you go. Nice. High five.
That was improvising. Oh, they call it a touchdown, too.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Hey, another high five.
Okay.
Double high fives.
So I thought that was 4th and inches. Okay, so if I was an NFL coach, this would be one of my innovations. If I have 4th and inches on the goal line, on first down, I'm running quarterback sneak 90% or more of the time. Because I see a lot of times, it might even be more likely that you might get in with like a running back play. Yeah. But a lot of times they'll get a tackle for a loss. So first down, I'm always going to quarterback sneak it. Second down, I'm going to pretty much always quarterback sneak it. And then third down, I'll kind of open it up to more options. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like the quarterback sneak in Madden in reality, if you only need an inch, it's pretty hard to not get it. So they reviewed this. I won't be surprised. You might get your opportunity here to run something at the inch line.
Oh, the other thing too. Okay, so the greatest sneaking quarterback of all time that I ever saw was Dante Culpepper. He always got it on 4th and inches, 3rd and inches, and you got a QB sneak on first down.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. So we got 1st and goal at the 1 yard line, and we're just going to QB sneak this in.
So what I would do, like if I was an NFL coach, I would train like maybe like Linval Joseph or just someone like really big that could just fall over basically.
Yeah.
To basically all you need someone is you don't want them to fumble, so someone that's going to be reliable to take the snap and then to just fall over for an inch. And I'm going to run it every time. I don't care if the defense knows I'm going to do it. So that would be my innovation to NFL coaching if I was a coach.
There was actually some conversation this week about whether, after we saw Linval's athleticism last week, whether they should get Linval more involved in the goal line offense. Which, as a Viking fan, I think that would be pretty awesome to see. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, why not? I mean,
he has said that he's happy to stick within his job, but I think that would be pretty cool. And we've seen teams do that. It's not uncommon to see. Wasn't Keith Tractor Trailer, wasn't he known to play? Or no, William Refrigerator Perry, wasn't he?
He scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Side note, Mike Ditka regrets that because Walter Payton didn't score a touchdown in that game and was very salty afterwards. So anecdote there. But it makes sense to have like a Linval Joseph go for like a half a yard on the goal line, you know.
Yeah.
So
he's going to be on the other side of the ball. You're going to have all these big, gigantic defensive tackles. So why throw your fragile quarterback against them?
Yeah.
You'd be better off, meeting big, strong with big, strong of your own.
yeah.
So we're going to bring a man blitz out of the dime formation to start here. God willing, we're going to get some pressure on Bradford here. As Viking fans, we know that he's going to be less well equipped to deal with that than like a Case Keenum or even a Kirk Cousins. He's not as mobile. I think he's more prone to either fall over or make some suspect decisions. But they're sticking with the run so far.
Well, Case Keenum, I thought that actually maybe one of the actually elite things that he did last year was being able to stay composed against blitzing.
Absolutely.
So pretty much all of his other skills were average or below average, but his blitz, he had Hall of Fame level blitz composure.
All right, way to force him out of bounds.
Thank
there.
you. High five.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, Bradford is 7 for 10, so he's been efficient so far. That's why I just think we gotta get after him. And so we're gonna bring more man blitz here on a two receiver set. Oh, I over pursued slightly. He managed to get around me.
Okay,
So that's a good first down rush for them. But we're gonna see if we can hold strong. We're gonna run a man blitz out of the nickel.
Hey, we got a lead on a team that's 4-1 right now, so we'll take
It's true.
it.
It's a way to look at the positives. That was one of the reasons I was excited to have you on the show this week. Is you are very good at looking at the positives.
Yeah.
You and I have talked in recent times both about when this Vikings team has struggled a little bit. We've talked about that. We've talked about being Timberwolves fans, which is a very difficult. It's a very difficult life choice, and I generally find that you help me break out of a cycle of wallowing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, force it. All right, good.
There we go.
That's a big
Okay,
stop
now
on
I'm getting
3rd
a fake
inches.
punch again.
Well, do you think they would really do a fake
No,
punt
probably
twice in a
not,
row?
but-
That would be...
But,
They're just crazy enough to do it. So,
I'm going to play defensive lineman just in case, and they do not. Looks like they're going for the coffin corner, but we got good starting field.
Okay, let's do it. Make it a 2-possession game right here.
Yep, that would be real nice. I actually am liking what I'm seeing with the run, and so I'm going to try
Okay.
to keep that going a
Okay.
little bit. As you see in the recommendations, though, running plays are few and far between.
Yeah, fair enough.
The coach recommendations and the community recommendations, it's a lot of passing, which I guess reflects the modern NFL.
Oh,
we got him to
there we
jump
go.
offsides.
There we go. That's you.
That was me, yeah, that's a big run.
All right,
so we can
sweet.
decline that.
Yep.
Offside.
We've had
Defense.
some miscues on previous episodes where we've accidentally accepted penalties we shouldn't have accepted. I think you watched
On
that
touchdown,
episode,
yeah.
I don't want to make any more of those mistakes.
Yeah.
So we decline that penalty
Yeah.
and get it to the 40. You and I were talking last night about how we think Brad Childress was probably the least offensively imaginative coach.
And just the worst coach that we've had.
So like
In my lifetime. I don't
Yeah.
remember before that.
I'm
so.
actually looking to bring a little bit of with how bad our Madden play has been in recent weeks, I'm actually trying to bring a little bit of that Brad Childress energy. I'm just like, can we win this game boring? With all apologies to our viewers, it's like, can we just win this game without flash? Just, grind it out. But we got a 2nd and 10 here. I'm going to be looking for Diggs. You're going to be playing Diggs.
Okay.
I want to see what these safeties and linebackers do over the middle. Morgan's going to be my check down. I'm going to go to Morgan here.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's pretty covered.
Get us into a 3rd and short.
I don't mind being boring. It just Childress was ineffectively boring. Like, if you're effective and boring, like, you know, that's keep doing it. But Childress was, yeah.
I think that's a very good distinction to draw.
Yeah.
So if you can be effectively boring,
Yeah, keep
more
doing
power
it.
to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, at this point in the game, I usually like to talk about some of the matchup memories, and so I picked out a couple Viking Cardinals showdowns, and one of the ones that I picked out, I'll tell you about after this play, because we've got a 3rd and 3, and I really want to get this first down. I'm going to be looking for Conklin over the middle on a spacing route.
I'm open. Circle.
I overthrew it slightly.
I should have turboed, but
Conklin was well covered there, and so I needed to do something a little different.
where are we?
anyway.
The 47? Yeah, probably punt it.
Yeah, let's pin him deep. Let's just keep. I've also talked about on the show in the past that I actually really like punting, and so I'm gonna try to pin him deep here.
I actually do think, not in Madden, but in the real NFL, that most teams should go for it on 4th down in that situation, especially if they have a good offense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would go for it. And more teams should go for it on 2. Like, that's another thing I would do, because a lot of the 1-point conversions teams are missing anyway. So,
Yeah, kicking has been a challenge in the NFL this year. We're bringing pressure up the middle again with our linebackers. Griffin's offsides there. That's unfortunate at home, but
False start, offense.
you don't often see the away team using a hard count, because the crowd noise is such that the defensive lineman can just play on motion of the ball. But here we are. Oh wait, they called that a false start. So it looks like he got goaded into going offsides. All right, that's more true to life. That's what I would expect.
oh, okay.
But yeah, so I was talking about those matchup memories. One of the games I called out was November 7th, 2010. That was Brett Favre's 2nd year with the team. We were playing the Cardinals, and what had happened is that week we had cut Randy Moss. Brad Childress cut Randy Moss. It had only been a couple weeks since we traded for him. I think we gave up a 3rd-round pick to get him. And so the fan base was confused and I think angry at Childress because it's like, you know, figure out a way to make it work. But he cuts Randy Moss.
Yeah, because he was a bad coach, partly.
Yeah.
And he didn't get the respect of his players. Side note, not to. I mean, he's a good man. He was just a bad head coach. Okay.
Yes. Thank you for. We might talk about that a little bit later, in terms of some of the bad habits of fandom when we get a little too heated. And
he was very inflexible, I thought.
Oh, how does he hold on to that? Harrison Smith comes up and whacks him, and he still holds on to it. So that's a bit surprising to me.
Side note: Zimmer, I think, is the best coach of my lifetime.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit last night too, and I
Yeah.
think there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
So you see Smith playing that well. Usually, I feel like in Madden, that's a drop ball. But here we are. We're gonna just keep bringing heat until we get a sack or until we get like a legit pressure. I want to keep getting after him. It seems to be serving us relatively well in run defense, at least.
Oh, that's that user tackle, bruh.
But yeah, so Childress cuts Moss. We're playing the Cardinals. We're down 24-10 in the 4th quarter, and you know, must-win game because I think we were 1-5 or 2-5 at the time. So, you know, not a good situation to be in. Favre leads, as he did so many times in his career. Brett Favre leads the 4th quarter comeback, ties it up 24-24. We win that game 27.
Oh.
I don't think you were offside. I think you were okay. The Vikings end up winning that game 27-24 in overtime, and
Ryan Longwell.
it buys Brad Childress a couple more weeks. Brad Childress was fired 2 weeks later. He lost to the Packers at home 31-3, and so that was the last straw. He got canned after that. I'm bringing pressure, man blitz, but we're in a quarter defense, and so we've got a lot of defensive backs on the field.
Oh,
He's short of the line, though.
yeah.
Bradford makes the read immediately. So I come in on a blitz with Iloka there. He reads it immediately, but thankfully, because of the sideline, they're just short of a first down.
So the pressure was effective, well, not converted, but...
And so yeah, Childress got that was really the only reason I picked out that game as a matchup memory, both because of the trivia with Moss getting cut, but also the fact that Childress was fired 2 weeks later. And that was probably Brett's, I didn't note this down, but I think that might have been Brett Favre's last win as the Vikings starting quarterback. It was
Fair enough.
3 games later, he ended up sitting out due to injury.
He got dogged.
Yeah.
I remember that game.
And so I'm gonna hot rat Diggs on a streak, so I just want you to go for it.
Okay.
I want to clear the field out and see if I can get feeling over the middle here. I'm actually going to go on 1.
Okay. Good call.
CJ Ham.
Good call.
Brings
High
us to the
five.
2-minute warning.
2-minute warning, baby.
I say we're in 4 down territory too, so we could even actually try we could try running it.
Yeah, we've got enough time here, and our position on the field, we could probably mix in a couple of run plays. But
Yeah, and honestly, drain the clock strategically.
Yeah, we'll see what they recommend for us. Why does it say we have 13 points? I wish we had 13 points. So hopefully a self-fulfilling prophecy here.
There we go, bruh.
These spot routes haven't been working as well as I'd like, so I'm going to be looking for Thielen in the spot route here. But if Treadwell or Diggs get open over the top, I'm going to be keeping an eye on that.
I'm open, baby. Yeah!
Way to freestyle that. I don't know what your route was, but that worked well.
It was not that, and when I looked at the coverage, it looked like I was running into heavy coverage, so I went where the defenders.
I'm going to try another screen pass on first down here, just because we're in a bit of a high tempo situation.
You're trying to screen pass?
Yeah, we're in a bit of a high tempo situation here. I want to see if I can get it. Again, one defensive guy squeaks through. The screen's just not been working for us today. Let's get into a hurry up here. Angle smash.
Hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna be.
You're cooked right now. You're getting gobbled
Yeah.
up.
Oh, I'm open
Which,
now.
that's who I wanted to go to, but
Yeah.
that's all right.
I didn't know who I was. I was confused.
That's what sometimes happens when we're in this co-op situation. It gets a little tough sometimes. In the hurry up there, I was liking that action over the middle, but we just didn't take the time to get on the same page. All right, so we're in a 3rd and 18 here.
Let's just try to get like 10 yards and then.
Yep, and then see where we're at. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna run
they'll
double
probably give it to
slants.
us.
I'm gonna be. Treadwell.
So Thielen and Diggs both have a bit of a cushion, so let me see if I can find either of them. And so question here is at the 38. At the 38, we probably are in field goal range, and I think I'm inclined to take the points here if we can get them.
Well,
Make
if you
this
feel
a summon.
confident.
Yeah, I feel like indoors here, Dan Bailey can get this, and so.
Short.
Got through. All right,
High five, nice.
50,
all right,
55 yarder.
all right. There we go.
Looking at the highlights from last week's real game, I was a little nervous because Bailey missed a couple field goals.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh boy, our special teams woe is going to continue. But he came up big at the end. I think he made a 52-yarder that is what basically kept our lead large enough to seal that game.
Sure.
And so, big one for him. So as mentioned earlier, you and I are going to the game tomorrow at US Bank Stadium. We were reminiscing that actually the last Viking game you went to,
And only one, actually.
and only one you went to.
Well, the one with you.
Yeah, with together.
Actually, the last Viking game I went to was a classic Viking game where the Vikings needed to win to get into the playoffs against the Packers, and then Adrian Peterson ran for over 2,000 yards. Christian Ponder was a quarterback. But then he got injured, and then they had to start...
Joe Webb in the wild card game.
Yeah. So, but yeah, okay, anyway.
But anyway, the last game you and I went to together was a Cardinals game. And so that was the other matchup memory I called out, because when you and I were talking, your memories of that game were very detailed. Like,
Yes.
So tell me what you remember about that game.
Okay.
That was the 2012 season, October 2012.
Okay, so one of the, actually probably the biggest standout thing for me, or one of the biggest, is that was at a point in my life where I realized that feeling bad about my team losing, or like that other team's success was...
There we
There
go,
we
baby. Let's see if we can return this for... I think that was you on the return. That's good. We got 2 timeouts, so...
Anyway, so there's this paradigm of like I cheer when my team's doing well, and then I like sulk and get angry and kind of abusive in against the other team, and I found that is like a not a very good paradigm for enjoying myself, and that I actually, when I cheer for the other team too, or like not like cheer,
or
like,
even
for
just
them
like
to
cheer
win.
for like academic achievement, like just shows of like
For anything,
Yeah.
just for other people doing well, generally speaking, you know what I'm saying? And okay, so I'll give you an example. The Cardinals, they ran for a touchdown, and I was like, yeah, that's awesome, that's amazing to see. Like I was really impressed, and I remember that was kind of like a new energy for like your sister who was at the game, and I was just kind of like, yeah, I still like the Vikings, but square.
Yeah, you're right. That would have been, you had me with Diggs there. That would have been good action right there to get it to Diggs. Yeah, that probably confused my sister in the sense that we had been going to Viking games with our dad for the entirety of our lives, and my dad is a suffering Viking fan.
My dad is too.
Yeah, and so he just gets down in the dumps when the Vikings aren't doing well.
Yeah.
But so to see somebody be like, yeah, nice play, Cardinals, like would have rightly confused her, I think.
Yeah, and most people. So yeah, I just would get excited. Okay, I'll give you another example. So my favorite all-time Vikings play being at it was the very opening play. Percy Harvin returns the opening kickoff. The Metrodome crowd goes wild, baby! It was so funny. They called it back for holding. Now, I could have been like, oh, boo, oh no, I feel bad about myself, but I'm like, wait a second, I just like lived this like the greatest Vikings moments of my whole life, so I'm just gonna like revel in that. And okay, I'm Morgan, I'm covered.
They called a timeout. All right.
And then it turned out well because then the Vikings got to drive the field, and Adrian Peterson scored a touchdown, so it turned out better anyway.
Yeah, you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was that game, October 2012. Harvin returns the opening kickoff, and it's called back on an illegal block in the back.
It was so exciting. Oh my god.
The Vikings win that game 21-14. Adrian Peterson had an amazing year that year, as you noted. He had 153 yards rushing in that game and a touchdown. Ponder at that point in the season was pretty bad. I think he had
Oh, there we go.
nice. Ponder had I think 7 interceptions across like a 3-game span, and I wrote the stat line here. He was 8 for in that was a win, mind you. We beat the Cardinals 21-14.
Let's play like a prevent.
He was 8 for 17 for 58 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. And so that was the point of the year where Ponder was not playing well. But as you noted, the way that season ended is that we ended up wanting Ponder on the field, but he was hurt. And so we ended up having to roll with Joe Webb in a playoff game. But anecdotally, as I was revisiting the series history with these two teams, it feels to me like there have been a lot of return touchdowns.
Okay.
So that game that we were at, October 21st, 2012, Harrison Smith also had an interception touchdown.
He did to win the game.
That game we were talking about earlier, the Brad Childress game, the Cardinals had a kickoff return touchdown. The Cardinals had an interception return, or a fumble return touchdown. And, fun fact about this one, during the Vikings comeback, we fumbled, and a Cardinals player was about to return it for a touchdown, which basically would have sealed the game. but Greg Camarillo punched the ball
Greg
out of bounds.
Camarillo. Okay.
And so that was almost a game-saving play.
Okay.
But anyway, anecdotally, it just felt like there were a lot of big return, special teams and defensive return touchdowns in this series, just as I was revisiting it. But we got to get to the big one, which you hinted earlier. The biggest matchup memory to me between the Vikings and the Cardinals is December 28th, 2003.
Two receivers left and right. McCown who's their quarterback again?
Our quarterback at the time was Culpepper. They had Josh McCown.
That's right. Yeah, it was McCown. Okay, yeah. McCown takes a snap, rolls right. Oh, okay. We got the call.
Yep, I'm going to try to pull it up on YouTube. But you and I were in agreement. So that last play of the game, Vikings are up 17 to 12.
Okay,
And-
a little backstory too to interrupt. So I'm pretty sure that was the year the Vikings had a really nice record at the start of the season, and then they kind of fell off the hinges, and the Packers needed to win and the Vikings needed to lose for the Vikings to miss the playoffs. And the Cardinals were considered one of the worst teams in the league that year and were out of the playoffs. And it was a close game. The Vikings were up. The Cardinals had just like a play, like a 30-yard play with time expiring to either win or lose the game. And they scored a touchdown basically. So
Yeah, nice return there. Yeah, so Nate Poole gets the touchdown in the back right corner of the end zone. I believe there were some questions about push-off rule on that, or just whether you're inbounds or not.
In today's NFL, the Vikings would not have been a touchdown in the modern day rules, and that's actually one of the reasons. I think.
You and I were in agreement, though, that that's probably Paul Allen's most iconic radio play call.
Absolutely, he's wild in a good way.
Yeah, that's like kind of burned into my brain. And so I think I have the YouTube video pulled up, but I'm going to focus on our offense for now, and we'll maybe come back to that.
I've listened to that clip probably 50 or plus times in my life, cumulatively, so.
Let's see. I want to keep the run game going on second and short here. Looking at the hat count, I'm going to switch this over to the left side.
Hey, we're good.
There we go.
Oh, he had
okay.
a hole, but he just didn't get forward progress there. I think they maybe give him a yard.
Murray's injured.
All right, so 3rd and 2. You know, the Brad Childress in me is saying, like, all right, just pound it forward, 2 yards in a cloud of dust. But let's see, what do you think in this situation?
A short pass.
Yeah.
Just because the running just hasn't been reliable, you know.
So let's run a Z spot here out of the gun. My first option here is going to be Thielen. But I also have Diggs sitting down at the 1st-yard line. And you're going to be going into the flat with Morgan.
I'm open.
I'm going to try to get it to Thielen. I'm confident he's going to hold on to that. I do feel like, you know, we've been underutilizing Thielen and Diggs relative to their real-life production.
Fair enough.
Passing, as noted, passing in this game is tough, and so...
You're on it, okay. All right, that's a good hole. That's a good hole. That's a good hole. There we go.
I'm feeling play action here on a 2nd and 1.
No. QB sneak.
All right, I'll.
No, I don't want to get sacked on play action, honestly.
All right, I'm actually going to run out of the shotgun here and see.
All right.
I like the hat count. There should be a hole here.
Okay. Yeah, I like that first play action.
All right, let's see. Let's try play action. I'm going to go Diggs over the middle here is my safety blanket. I've also got CJ Ham going into the flat, but if I can get Morgan over the top, I will.
Okay.
You're playing Diggs, and so I'm going to be
Diggs.
watching for you.
Yeah.
I actually immediately go there. And that works.
And it
quite
worked.
well.
High five, bro.
Alright, let's see. I want to run some more out of the shotgun, just because I think that action typically works pretty well.
Okay.
We've got the hat count again.
I do know I've watched some elite Madden players, and they do, a lot of them run out of the shotgun pretty often. So, granted, the Vikings have some of the worst offensive line and running back play probably in the entire NFL.
Yeah, unfortunately. I'm going to try it again, actually. The strategy is telling me that that's not a bad choice, and so...
Well, it's conservative, I guess. Okay.
We're chewing off some good yardage here, and
It might be
keeping
4-down territory. I'd be tempted.
We got to take the field goal. If we can make it a 2-possession game, we'll make it a 2-possession game.
Let's have a pass, just a Brad Childress pass. So
we can do this curls combo, or we can try to get somebody going across the field.
Let's do the X.
Oh, sorry.
Whatever.
We can switch to a...
No, it's fine.
We're just going to do this curls action. I'm going to be... If you want to audible into something with Treadwell, we absolutely can. Let's do Treadwell and do a crossing route with Treadwell. Just go across the field for me.
Alright. No, I'm going back.
Whoops. Oh, I wasn't even throwing to you on that. I was looking for Thielen on the curl. I was trying to throw it right before he released. And your guy just happened to be in the area.
Yeah, I just saw, like, the coverage was... It was pretty covered in the middle of Treadwell there, so... Don't want you to force something.
That's alright. We make this a 2-possession game.
Hey, man. High five. There we go.
Good.
There we go.
Alright, now, as we switch over possessions here, I'm going to pull up this... You know, this is a courtesy of the NFL, obviously. All rights prohibited, or whatever that nonsense to say at the beginning.
Hey, there's
of the
no
game
proof
is.
that I'm not doing an impression. So
Of Paul Allen here?
Yeah.
This is the man I am.
Yeah, we got an ad here. Let's wait for this ad to play. All right, here we go.
17, 16, 15. They have to
No,
go
this
deep.
isn't.
Oh, this isn't even
We
Paul
better-
Allen. This is the NFL's booth. That's not.
Yeah. Oh, here.
Is this the one?
No, go back. I know it. I can see it.
This one?
Nope.
Nope. All right, hold on. We're gonna
This
find
one.
it.
This one.
Oh, it's the Tecmo Bowl
Yeah,
one. Where they
Tecmo
put it to
Bowl.
the Tecmo.
The season's on the line. Two receivers left and right. McCown takes the snap. He steps up. He's all by himself. Fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No! The Cardinals have knocked the Vikings out of the playoffs.
Oh man, we love to help you relive traumatic memories.
Yeah, basically.
It's
It's good to get that out in a sports game where it doesn't really matter than like when your wife leaves you. You know what I'm saying? It's like I actually really do appreciate that.
It's
so.
a good practice scenario to kind of work on dealing with traumatic experiences. Oh, are you kidding me on that play? Who is this backup running back, by the way? So David Johnson gets hurt, and Logan there, we have him in the backfield, and that's like a Marshawn Lynch play right there.
Beast mode.
Yep. Alright, so we're going to try to do a call-in here. You know, you guys know Preston is usually on the show. He's not around today, but he's texted me telling me that he wants to call in. Let's see if he is still available while we try to keep this defensive possession low drama. I think, so a couple things strike me about that Paul Allen call. He sounds younger, so you can tell that was 15 years ago.
Sure.
The way that he calls the word touchdown in that call is so there's so much going on there, because I think a lot of his trademark was the Vikings touchdown calls, the emotion that he would put into it, and you're getting kind of like a bizarro version of that.
Sure.
And then obviously the one that I think is still on the soundboard at KFan that they use all the time is the no, you know.
Yeah. Well, and when he said touchdown too, it was not sure whether it was going to be touchdown or not. So he was like looking for it's like it's almost like he was looking for the signal of the referee, and then like mid-sentence he like let out his own like shocks of heartbreak.
Yeah, just his own honest reaction, just like
yeah, because Paul Allen, I think he does a really amazing job of like balancing just being very professional and like just doing the job title, you know, calling what he sees, and then expressing his true feelings, his true emotions.
So we got Preston calling in now. Can you hear me, Preston? Hey, can you?
Gentlemen,
How's it going, man?
good. Nice to see that we're up by 10, huh?
Are you
Yeah, there we go.
Are you watching the show?
I am.
Where are you?
I'm more so listening to it because I'm driving, but it's been fun to hear you guys chit-chatting about Brad Childress. Can't believe the computer decided to run a fake punt. I don't think I've ever seen that in my life.
Yeah, that was,
congrats on stopping that.
yeah, that was quite a moment. We just barely stopped it. What's your prediction for the game tomorrow? You'll be there at US Bank Stadium with us as well.
Side note, Cheryl's is the Brad Childress of punt returners.
Well, no, but he's kind of effective, I think. So
He's effectively boring.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
He's
Fair
not
enough.
he's more the Bill Belichick of returning because
That's other extreme. He's more like the who's like a conservative. He's more like the who's the guy who was with the Chiefs? He's the Marty Schottenheimer of coaching.
Andy Reid.
No, Andy Reid's too creative. He's the Marty Schottenheimer. He's conservative, but good career.
So Preston, what's your prediction for the game tomorrow? You'll be there with us as well.
Well, I heard you mention this about the Bills game. I was there with you, and we were all in shock pretty much. It was pretty unbelievable. The air was sucked right out of that stadium when a Buffalo Bills team that was a 17-point underdog comes in, and before the end of the half, they're up 17-0. I think with the Cardinals, if we start fast, it's going to be over quickly. But we can't allow the Cardinals to get any momentum early on, because that's exactly what happened with the Bills. They got rolling early, and we just could not fight back. And if anything, taking our crowd out of it was a big deal. So I do think the Vikings are going to roll tomorrow. I don't think they're going to make the same mistake twice.
Ooh, I don't know about this.
Maybe doubting a Bills team, thinking they had that in the bag. I think Zim's going to have them coached up, ready to go, and take on this Cardinals team. My prediction is 24-10 Vikings.
24-10, huh?
Yep.
That is similar to my prediction. I think I went 24-13, but I think you're right that they got to start fast. I mean, that's going to be crucial. So.
Yeah, and I'm looking at. I know that the Cardinals have Patrick Peterson, a pretty decent group of defensive backs, but I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing Thielen and Diggs and who they're matched up with on the outside, and maybe more importantly, how Dalvin Cook, how he affects the passing game coming back, because he hasn't really got the wheels turning. I don't think the Vikings have, essentially, in the running game.
Yep.
So having that guy as a pass catcher, Dalvin Cook I'm referring to, is huge for the Vikings offense on those little dips down, just those quick little dunk passes. He completely changes this offense, so I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think those are all good call-outs. Well, we're coming up on the fourth quarter here, so we're going to focus in. But we'll see you later today, if not tomorrow. Tomorrow at game time.
Yeah, I wanna comment one thing on Jim's approach of QB sneaking all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely outside the box and could be effective. However, I liked Adam's idea on the play actions 2nd and 1. That's the time where they think you're gonna run it. And that's when you beat them. That's when it's the chess match, the ultimate chess match.
Yeah, that's definitely the idea. But I do think you do give yourself, if the defense plays it well, you do put yourself at risk for a sack. So
totally. Well, good luck, guys. Finish strong, and hopefully by the time I get home, there's a victory.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sounds good.
Skol!
Skol.
Skol. Yeah, going on the play action, I think that like if we were elite Madden players, that would be a good call. And I think with our level that I perceive, I wanted to go Brad Childress on it. So.
Yeah. No, I think yeah, playing that a little more conservatively based on our history this season, I think is the right call. A lot of those turnovers we've been making have come from being too aggressive, have come from getting in bad down and distance, and so I think converting that first down on 2nd and short, I think was good instinct there. All right,
and they've got 10-point lead, baby.
Yeah,
so.
And so what we got to do here is we got to hold them to a field goal to keep this a 7-point game. I think that's crucial. We don't want to give up a touchdown here and have this be a 3-point game. And so we're in an important 3rd and 5. They've got 2 wide receivers on the field. And I'm just going to run a double A-gap blitz again out of the nickel. And we're going to see if we can't get some of that pressure on Bradford. We do, and he just chucks it out of bounds. So high five.
There we go.
All right, so Jim, we're coming up on the 4th quarter. I want to talk a little bit about your and my friendship origin story, which Madden plays a really important part in.
Yes.
And so that's why I was excited to have you on the show today, is because high five! Who is this special teams coordinator?
I don't know about that play
This
call.
special teams coordinator is wild. I mean, you're telling me that when you can make this a 7-point game with a whole quarter to go, you're going to call a fake field goal? All right. That is something. But yeah, tell me about that friendship origin story as you remember it, because I was excited to have you on just because of all those Madden memories that you and I have.
Okay, well, fair enough. Okay, so I'm Diggs up here, up top.
I'm coming to you. Oh, you got hammered. That to me probably gets flagged in the real NFL for hitting a defenseless receiver. I liked what you did there. You got into a soft spot in the defense. You were running a crossing route.
Yeah, here, let's see the replay.
But you kind of kept going forward. Got to a soft spot, but you got laid out by that safety.
Yeah. Okay, so Georgie, Mr. Harvard graduate himself, before he was a Harvard graduate, we met in the freshman dorms, and I loved playing Madden 02 on...
Madden 2002.
Madden 2002.
Dante Culpepper was on that cover, right?
He was on the cover, and I asked if he wanted to play, and then we did, and I was pretty ruthless at Madden in those days, honestly. So, oh, there we go, nice. We played a game. I actually don't remember the game, but you've told me this.
I hadn't played Madden in so long either. Now, I had played Madden 02 when I was younger, but it had been a while. And so, yeah, you rolled in.
Audible out of this.
No. I like what we've got here. I'm going to get this.
All right.
Oh, he had a hole to the left, but he went straight ahead. That's my bad. The hat count looked good. I had space in front of me. He had space to the left, but he tries to cut it inside. I thought we could churn that out. That was definitely a Brad Childress call right there. So
Fair enough.
I take full responsibility for that. But anyway, yeah. So you roll into the room and you're like, "Hey, you want to play Madden?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'm into it." And you dominated me. That's really what it comes down to. I don't remember the score, but you crushed me.
Yeah, I was ruthless.
I mean, I barely knew you at this point. I had met you at the dorm orientation things, and you were just one of many people that all these new people that you're trying to figure out and get to know. And
yeah, everyone's moving away from their homes, so everyone's just I don't know anyone, and we're just kind of meeting and greeting. Pretty exciting, actually.
Yeah, and so I didn't know you from a bunch of those new people, but you step into the room and are like, "Hey, you want to play Madden?" And I was like, "Man, I'm never playing Madden against this guy again." That was an unpleasant experience in terms of finally.
There we go. You sack. Okay.
That's a big play right there to end the 3rd quarter. But despite my discomfort and my negative feelings of just being like, "Oh man," I was like, I end up playing you again. I don't remember. It must have been the next day.
No, I think it was the same night.
Same night.
Yeah.
And so we play again. I forget which team I was. But it's important to note in terms of the scope of our friendship. I think if I lose that game or if I get crushed again...
I'm not sitting here right now. Maybe.
Yeah, you're probably not sitting in this room. But instead, we play an incredibly close, incredibly hard-fought game. And...
well, Georgie scores... You scored a go-ahead score with, like, basically time running out. There was only time for a kickoff return, which I fair caught, and one play. So, all
right, we force him into the flats. I got some pressure there with Hunter.
So basically, I need to. I'm at the 20. I need to go 80 yards and score a touchdown on one play, and I throw it up into coverage. I don't know if you're familiar with Madden 02, listeners, and the gameplay dynamics were significantly different than this game. So anyway, it gets popped out, and then Keenan McCardell, I was the Jaguars, just happened to be running in stride and caught the ball in a way I'd never seen it before. Like, in the new Maddens, it would be more likely for that to happen, but so it was an extremely rare event. I was running in stride. I was going to score a touchdown on this, like, crazy last-second go-ahead win. It would have probably put in the death knell for Georgie and our friendship, honestly. Georgie runs across the field and makes just a shoestring tackle at like the 1 yard line to save the game, like shoestring tackle. And it was super exciting and it was really fun.
And then you and I ended up just playing that year that we lived in the dorm.
Yeah.
We just ended up playing so much Madden 2002.
Yeah, and it was passionate. We would spend like 15 minutes like changing the depth chart and doing audibles.
Exactly.
And stuff.
And yeah,
it wasn't just kind of like a friendly, oh, let's play. It was like, I'm going to do literally every little thing I can do to get a strategic advantage.
Yep. And so there was, I think the thing that I remember most about it is, there was 10 to 15 minutes of like pre-game, like getting all that strategy where we want it, doing the things we need to do, and then there was like 10 to 15 minutes at least of like post-game, I can't speak to you right now. Like, you would often just leave my room in silence. Yeah, and we would just have to
one way or the other. Like, either Georgie would lose, and it's like I wanted to celebrate but not gloat in front of him, and I would just like silently leave, or like I would lose, and then I would just be like, I need to like go like lick my wounds and like mourn. So, my attitude towards it now would be more jovial, and we were just so into it. Like, it was pretty ecstatic, actually. Yeah.
So I've been going heavy on the run here because I've been liking what I've been seeing. Like, I've been seeing holes.
We got a pass here, though.
Yeah, I've been seeing holes, but they're not turning into those big runs. And so we're in a 3rd and 8 here. I'm looking for Thielen over the middle here. That's my go-to, but I've got Cook as kind of a second option. You let me know what you're seeing there in the middle. I'm coming to you. See, Thielen holds on.
Thielen's got good hands,
and they give us forward progress, so that's a huge 3rd down play.
Oh, side note, I actually thought about this when you brought up Greg Camarillo. When Thielen first came to the Vikings, I thought he was going to be like their Greg Camarillo, and actually he's turned into like more, not Jerry Rice, but like something like kind of more like that, like a really bad version of Jerry Rice, which is pretty good. So,
or like I would think of him kind of like a. Almost like Wes Welker with a dash of Jerry Rice, because he's bigger and more athletic.
Maybe more like Steve Smith.
He's like bigger,
the worst version of Steve Smith.
He's bigger and more athletic, but he also he's a really good possession receiver. He really knows how to keep, take when the ball's coming his way. He really knows how to secure it.
Mm-hmm. I would say, comparing Welker to Thielen, Thielen's faster, Welker's quicker. Thielen he's just really good. We were actually talking about this. Besides Hall of Famers Randy Moss and Chris Carter, I think Thielen in his prime is the best wide receiver of my lifetime for the Vikings. Other considerations would be Sidney Rice for 1 year with Brett Favre, and Stephon Diggs, and maybe Percy Harvin.
Hey, what do you think about a QB sneak here on third and blank? No.
Well, if we're gonna go for it on fourth, I would do it.
All right, let's just do. Let's see if we can get Thielen crossing over the middle here. Dalvin and Morgan are going to be my backup plans here, but you're gonna.
Actually, I'm gonna go this Corkin, and I'm gonna run to the outside.
Oh shoot! Thielen was relatively well covered on that one. I hadn't gotten Morgan where I wanted him yet. Not sure what was happening on your side of the field there. I wasn't able to make the read quickly enough.
Yeah, I mean, we had the first down probably, but it is what it is. So
My drop back was a little too far on that one. All right, let's see if we can pin him deep again. Oh, I'm not going to get the bounce I want. Dang it. Should have put backspin on it.
yeah, so one thing when Georgie and I talk about Madden is a lot of the conversation comes from heartbreaking losses for Georgie and me making comebacks, and from a psychological perspective, I feel like I pretty much always believed in myself, like I could win, and Georgie was a little bit more pessimistic.
Yeah, I definitely think I carried the mindset of the Viking fan while playing Madden. It was like I often would get there was just psychologically there was some, there wasn't as much faith there. There was more, can I survive this encounter? It's not like can I thrive, but can I survive this encounter?
And I also think, like I was thinking last night, you were a little bit more I think you felt guiltier when you won, because when you would win, you would kind of frame it more like, oh no, the other person must be feeling bad about losing.
Yeah.
Where I was more like, just kind of like, I'm playing to get the W, you know, a little bit more. I think that helped me in those situations.
Offense.
Yeah, I mean, we were definitely, when we were reminiscing last night, I was realizing, like, I was thinking, what does it say about me that, like, my most prominent memories are as you said, crushing, heartbreaking losses. Like, I remember one time I was playing as the Titans, which were one of my favorite teams in Madden 02, Steve McNair. I had at least a 17-point lead. I had at least a 17-point lead at half.
No, it was in the 20s, I think.
Yeah, and you were playing as the Browns with Tim Couch, I think. And long story short, you came back and won that game in the second half. That was crushing.
I did, and I did in a way that was extremely frustrating for Adam to do, with a lot of basically playing 5 wide receivers the entire game and throwing a lot of risky balls.
Yeah, you would air it out, and I remember a couple.
I had to win.
Yeah,
so,
you had a Randy Moss touchdown in the back of the end zone once on the last play of the game.
I did.
You had a pass interference play in the end zone that gave you a final play of the game. I think the pass interference play in the end zone happened as time expired.
No. Okay, so I know this one because this one's the craziest one. This one is the one that you actually don't even remember how crazy this was. Okay, so here's the scenario. This was the craziest comeback. And another thing I was gonna say, if you're familiar with law of attraction or just the concept that the internal and the external world aren't connected, like, this would be like some anecdotal evidence for me that might be the case, or whatever. But okay, so we were playing Madden 08, I think, on PlayStation 2.
Yes, we had upgraded at that point to be a little bit more current.
Yeah, and Madden 02 is still my all-time favorite though, and so it was really close. I was marching down the field to tie the game. I was down by 7, and I had a 4th and goal, and Adam stops me at the 1-yard line on 4th down, and he's going to win the game because literally he can run the clock out, okay? I don't have enough timeouts to stop the clock. The game is over, okay? Adam has won. He has successfully had the 4th down goal. He doesn't even remember this, but he has won the game. Now, in Madden 02, there's almost never false starts, and it has nothing to do with Adam. And they call false start, which would be just so unrealistic. So they call this fluky false start, and because of the false start, he has to punt it, and I get the ball at about the 50-yard line with basically.
They call it a screen pass.
I just have to chuck it in the end zone. Okay, so Adam goes prevent defense. I throw it up. His coverage is totally solid, but his user player doesn't even affect the play, but it's like his finger touches, he just touches him, and they call pass interference on him on user. So he was really upset about that. So then, but then he's still up by 7. I need to score a touchdown. So then I do score a touchdown, and then I was like, man, the universe is just on my side. I'm gonna go for 2 and just win this game right here. And keep in mind, he had just held me on 4th down too. So, but it was just I could feel it. It was just and then I went for it and scored the 2-point conversion. So he got the stop. Then there was a fluky false start, and or maybe it was holding. I don't know, penalty. And then the bogus pass interference call that he definitely went and looked at the replay and looked at it and was very sad and upset, and then I used that to my advantage and scored a touchdown and scored a 2-point conversion, and Adam was in about as much despair as I've ever seen him.
Yeah,
so.
that was... That probably was the deepest pits of despair in our... Madden 2002, we would get so heated, but it always felt like there was a fairness to it, right? And that just felt like a moment where the universe was not being fair. It was just hitting me while I was down.
Yeah, it was like the stars aligned against Adam, basically, or however you want to look at it, for me to win. So,
but yeah, we have those very fond those very fond Madden memories, and to this day, we're still friends despite some of those. And I thought that that's why I thought we needed to have you on the show, is that you would bring some of that Madden magic. You would bring some
Absolutely.
of that we needed the universe to kind of help us out a little bit.
Yeah.
We needed every nudge we could get,
Yeah.
and that was a case where that guy made a hell of a play right there. One of their backup running backs making a crazy play.
Yeah, so my strategy has been, and I think it's been pretty good, is to just be a linebacker and just let him, just give him these 8-yard passes and tackle him inbounds, because they don't have enough time, I don't think.
Yeah, we're
They
just
do have
in
3 timeouts,
survival. We're in survival mode here.
Oh, Preston got home and he's starting the Skol chant.
We got the Skol chant going.
Skol!
Late in the 4th quarter.
Skol!
We're just trying to hold fast here.
I don't know if you know this, but I saw a soccer team, or football, what they call it, in Iceland, and they were doing the Skol chant. So
I think that's where it originated.
Yeah,
we
so
took
that's
that
pretty
from
cool.
them. He drops it. Sendejo makes the hit there, so that's big. I don't know if you were still listening when this happened, Preston, but they were in field goal range.
They
the fake field goal to make it so if they had kicked that,
Idiots.
they could tie the game here with a touchdown.
That special teams coach just got fired.
Yeah, that's bizarre. But
now I will say this: I would have been playing the defense a little bit more differently if
they were marching to tie.
So
up
they,
here.
you know what I mean. So that would have changed circumstances too. Because I'm
yeah.
playing basically prevent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We're just trying to make them take as much time as they have to, because this is a 2-possession game. But
That's really bizarre, though, that they did not kick that field goal.
Yeah, and it wasn't it didn't seem like a very good fake. So
another
There
sack
we go.
for Griffin.
There we go.
That's big. High five.
5
Keep it going.
tackles. Yeah, there we go. All right, here's where we're gonna win the game.
If we got a hold.
I'm getting a user pick right here with Barr.
Oh boy. Oh, Trey Waynes had a shot at it. Well, I think that should more or less seal it. Again, I told
All right,
you
do
this
you want to
before.
take a kneel or just do some?
Well, they have timeouts, so let's try to run for a first. We got to run for a first down.
Nah, let's pass it. It's more fun that way.
More fun, but we need to win, man.
We're gonna win.
Well, if we throw a pick, it extends the game. So I'm going to run a trap here. I think hopefully Cook has some room up the middle. Gets us 3 or 4 yards by falling forward.
Did you call timeout?
No, they did.
No,
we did. Injury timeout.
Diggs.
Which sucks because that saves the Cardinals a timeout.
And Diggs is injured?
Yeah, hopefully it's just a minor thing.
Oh, so here's a heartbreaking moment. So in the probably the most heartbreaking Vikings game of all time against the Falcons.
It is Dalvin.
The day before. Oh, speaking of the Cardinals. Okay, so here's an all-time Cardinals one. That Vikings team, they played the Cardinals in the after the bye week in the playoffs, and they dominated them. And on the last play of the game, John Randall, who was their only really good pass rusher, was in the game on the other side, which was dumb. So I'm gonna criticize the Denny Green or whoever made that call for keeping John Randall in a meaningless play at the very end of the game. That was silly. And John Randall was like, okay, just don't get injured, don't get injured, don't get injured. Well, he cursed himself, and a Vikings player rolled on him, and he got pretty severely injured. He technically played the next week against the Falcons, but he just was not the same. So if that wouldn't have happened, maybe...
I had forgotten about that.
Although I will say this about that Vikings team, it was a little overrated because Randall Cunningham was not a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he'd throw it up for grabs. So I think the Vikings team was a little overrated, and I think the Falcons team, in retrospect, is underrated. That team won 13 games. That team was really good, actually. So,
all right, they want us to kneel it, but I want to get this team I want to build some stats because our team, in our franchise mode, our team has abysmal stats right now. And so I'm going to keep running it.
I want to catch the ball.
I know you do, but... oh, wait, is this going to CJ Ham? That's not what I want to do. I just want to get Dalvin some more yards. He's having a nice day. And I just
we got 8 in the box, bro.
And I know, and I don't think he's going to fumble. Even if he does, we're late enough in this game. I don't think we're going to be fine. Well,
now's the time to call a play action pass.
Yeah, let's take a shot. Kirk needs the stat boost more than Dalvin, but the wins are all that matters. To catch up on our game goals. So our game goals were no turnovers. I think we matched that one. To win the game, we're going to get that one. The other one was to have at least one passing touchdown. We threw that passing touchdown, but it got reviewed and overturned, and so it turned into a QB sneak touchdown. So it sort of counts, not totally, but
I was gonna say, when you mentioned the decline that penalty, and you were like, I was going to say, I've thrown 2 passing touchdowns, however, only one because I declined.
Yes.
Or because I accepted the penalty.
Boo. Not that, but boo that we're running. I want to catch him with
I
things,
know,
baby.
man, I know you do, but when the broadcast is over, you and I we'll maybe be able to play more Madden later.
Alright, well, he's got the first down.
No, he doesn't. Big hole, but he gets the yards.
Alright, well, that's the game if you want to call it.
Yeah, that's the game. Well, I'll throw one on this play. 4th and 2, last play of the game.
Alright, let's do it.
You tell me what you want to call.
Play action.
I just don't want to throw a pick with Kirk because he has 2 touchdowns
No,
and
I'm not
16
going to go for a
picks.
touchdown. I'll just go for a short pass.
10 seconds.
It's fun.
9.
Oh, you're calling that timeout.
Yeah.
All right.
funny timeout animation from Mike Zimmer.
All right, Jim. So as noted, you've got that history with Madden 02. What do you make of this game? Because this is really the first full game of Madden 2019 that you've played.
This is the first full game of a Madden game I've played on a PlayStation 3.
We're on a PlayStation 4, my man.
Or PlayStation 4. Well, okay, yeah, so I was really good at PlayStation 2 Madden, relatively speaking, and so I'm just learning that. I think that I could learn things about this. I mean, I think one thing about Madden 02 is that once you mastered...
we just gave him the ball back.
this game has more upside, I think, than those old Madden games. There are some things I like about the less realistic but arcadey styles that I think are they're not realistic, but they're fun and they're very technical. So it's kind of like if they're like, hey, we need to update Mario, make his jumping more realistic. Well, is that really going to make Mario better? Like, I don't know.
You're absolutely right.
I
thought we were going to get another pick on Bradford there, which would have been nice. Well, I think, it was kind of, at the end of the day, it's been an effectively boring game.
Yeah, that's what I was shooting for.
We managed to get a win in a must-win situation, so that brings our record up to 2-4. Puts us in a situation to salvage this franchise year.
We're going to the Super Bowl, baby.
Well, that would be the heck. Oh, Fitzgerald had a hand on it. That would have been a prototypical Fitzgerald play, but he couldn't hold on to it. That would be quite a comeback story, both in terms of our Madden play and just coming back with, particularly with Kirk's stat line. Like, that would be something. Get us a pick, man. Man, it would have been nice to get another one on Bradford. So we'll be back next week. We've got the Jets. I think that's another good opportunity to build some momentum, both in Madden and in real life.
Those rookie QBs.
Another rookie QB, another favorable matchup, and so looking forward to that. There's that QB sneak touchdown.
The Vikings had arguably, at least on paper, the hardest schedule to start the season of any team in the entire league, and they haven't looked great, and they also are right in the division hunt. So I think if you would have said they're right in the division hunt after this really tough schedule, you would take it at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And now they got some games that if they're going to do well, they got to win these games.
And you see that, so Bradford had way more passing yards, but we didn't turn it over, and we had a good completion percentage. Mm-hmm. And so we did what we had to do. We also ran the ball pretty well. We had about 90 yards of rushing offense, and so that's good to see. I want to say one other thing about Madden 2002. Madden 19 probably has 15 songs on it. And it gets really repetitive really quick, and I don't like most of them.
Yeah.
Madden 2002 had one song, and it never got repetitive to me.
Yeah, it was groovy.
So 2002, on the music front, they were crushing it. That Pharaoh Monch song, I think was the soundtrack, the anthem of our freshman year of college, was that Pharaoh Monch song. And particularly the way that he delivers frustration, aggravation.
On the sidelines, as I'm pumping my fist in celebration, I thirst for first downs, I burst through the middle, jiggle a bit, pick up some speed before they hit you. Yeah, bro.
Yep. Well, thanks for joining us this week, Jim. This was really fun. You might have to come back because you got us a win, which was huge. So
yeah, I'm only getting better too. So
yeah. All right, folks. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Skol.
Adios, muchachos.